Hi, this is Mato. Welcome to my online chess lecture. Tricks, traps and blunders. Let's start. d4, d5, e3, e6, knight to c3, knight to f6, bishop to b5 check. Usually these checks are not successful if black can play c6, but there are some exceptions. c6, bishop to a4, a5, knight to f3, white has developed 3 pieces and black only 1. Does that mean that white is better? Black to move, how would you continue? Play with the black pieces, pushed another pawn, not developing pieces. Bishop to b3, black to move. Black played a move and white resigned, and the move is a4, trapping the bishop. White resigned. Next game. d4, d5, e4, the black Dima gambit. d takes on e4, knight to c3, c6, knight takes on e4, knight to f6, knight takes knight, g takes on f6, bishop to f4, queen to b6, attacking the poisoned pawn. Bishop to c4, ready to sacrifice the pawn for the activity of the pieces. Black to move. Should black capture the pawn on b2 or not? Is the pawn really poisoned? What would you do? Black played a move and white resigned, and the move is queen to b4, check. Forking the king and the bishop, white resigned. Next game. d4, e5, the England gambit. d takes on e5, knight to c6, knight to f3, queen to e7, more pressure on the pawn. Bishop to g5, queen to b4, check. Bishop to d2, queen takes on b2, threatening to capture the rook. Bishop to c3, bishop to b4, pins everywhere. Queen to d2, bishop takes on c3. If knight takes on c3, queen takes rook on a1. So, player with the white pieces cleverly captured the bishop with the queen. But this move has a tiny downside. And the downside is queen to c1, checkmate. Next game. d4, knight to f6, c4, e5, the Budapest defense. d5, bishop to c5, f3 intending e4. Black played e4 first. Bishop to g5, pinning the knight. Black castled kingside. F takes on e4, threatening e5, winning the knight perhaps. How would you prevent e5? What would you do in this position if you had black pieces? Perhaps some players would play d6. Player with the black pieces forgot that the knight was pinned and captured the pawn on e4. Bishop takes queen. Player with the black pieces did not forget that his knight was pinned. Player with the black pieces, of course, had a plan, and the plan was... Just kidding. The reason for the queen sacrifice was bishop to f2, checkus matus. Next game. d4, knight to f6, e3, c5, d takes on c5, e6, b3, bishop takes pawn on c5, bishop to a3, intending to trade bishops. Would you trade bishops or not? What would you do? Player with the black pieces did. Bishop takes on a3, knight takes on a3, black to move. Should black castle kingside? Or maybe there is a better move. What would you do? Player with the black pieces played queen to a5 check. Queen to d2, queen takes knight, and white resigned. Next game. d4, d5, c4, the queen's gambit. Bishop to f5, the Baltic defense. Knight to c3, e6, queen to b3, attacking the pawn on b7. How should black defend the pawn? Play with the black pieces played, knight to c6, white to move. How would you continue? The c5 doesn't work, then knight takes on d4. Play with the white pieces, capture the pawn on d5. E takes on d5, and this is the critical position. It is white to move. e3 was played. Perhaps knight to f3 should have been considered. e3 was played. Black to move. How would you continue? Play with the black pieces played, knight to b4. Another critical position. But let's take it back. In this position, instead of e3, white should have played knight to f3. If knight to b4, then e4, and after d takes on e4, knight to e5. This position favors white. Back to our game. So we have e3, knight to b4, king to d1. Again, e4 should have been considered. King to d1 was played. So if knight to c2, rook to b1, play with the black pieces did not play knight to c2. He played a better move. Bishop to c2 check, winning the queen. White resigned. Which was your favorite game today? And that is all. I hope that you enjoyed watching this video. I wish you good luck with your chess, and bye for now.